guys, welcome back to Parm Custom Woodworking. My name is Matt, and today we're going to build a massive picture frame. We're going to build it out of pine. It's going to have dowels in the corners, and we're going to finish it up. You got to put a rabbet in the back side of it here, round over the fronts. Now you can do this, you can change it up, make it into any size you want. You can use it for a cabinet door, you can use it for a drawer front. This type of joinery you can use on a ton of different things, and it's versatile, and it's pretty strong. It'll hold up to almost anything. Come along, let's go build it. First thing we do is we're gonna rip these down in. I need 3-inch strips. I need 2 3-inch strips out of this one and 2 3-inch strips out of this one. Giddy up. So these boards do have a slight round over on the edge of them. I'm gonna go ahead and rip that off there and straighten one side up, and then we can go from there. All right, so I got that off there. Now I'm gonna rip into the 3-inch strips. All right, so they're ripped down. Now I'm going to run them through the planer, just try and clean them up a little bit, and then get them maybe a little thinner. All right, so they were 1 1/8 inches to start, and now they're just under 1 inch. So they're all the same. We're going to go ahead and work with them this way. That's going to work for us. All right, so this picture frame needs to be 49 inches by 39 inches on the inside of the frame. So I need to see, these boards are 52.5. If you take 3 inches off the outside of that, that's going to give you what, 60 or 48.5, which won't be enough. So I'm going to have to butt joint them to make it work. These are 46, so they'll be just long enough. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these at 49 inches. So what I'm going to do with these first is I'm going to trim the ends so that the ends are identical and fresh. And I also know that they'll be they'll be a 90-degree end. Now I'll go ahead and measure out 49 inches. Perfecto. All right, so there are those two cut. Now I can go ahead and I'll cut the other two down. These two, I need these two to be at 45 inches. So we squared up the end. Go ahead and measure out 45 inches like a charm. All right, so there's the outlay of our frame. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put dowels in the corners. That'll just make it so it's easier for alignment. It'll keep it straight. It'll add extra strength. Now I use the Dowel Max. That's the jig that I have and I like. And just to make sure that my alignment is right, I always put tape on here, and it'll match up. I have tape on here, so I'll put this on. This will go on this way, it'll go on that way, and that way the tape will line up, and it will make sure that my alignment is right. All right, so we'll go ahead and put that on there. Make sure our Dowel Max is set up and tight. Just go ahead and mark these so I make sure I get the right pieces back together on the right sides. Now all you gotta do with this, you put this in here. I'm going to line it up with the outside edge right here. So that it's lined up. Got my tape to tape. Got my jig. Make sure I check my depth. The depth looks good. So I'm just going to put in, I'm going to use these 2 holes right here. Then you guys make sure you have the same holes. The distance is the same from either side. So I'll use those 2 holes. That end of the board. I'll go ahead and do this end. All right, once again, tape to tape. So that board is done. Now I'll go ahead and set up on this one. So this one you do the same thing kind of. You set it up. This side I'm going into the side of it. I just bring it right down to the very end of it. Make sure it's lined up how I want it to be. Square with the edge. And here I'm going to use these two ones right here again. Make sure she's tight. There she is. Set up. Get your bit in there. Alright, so that board is done. So now 2 of the boards are done. You got to remember that, you know, what side you're lining it up to. And alright, there's all the holes drilled. So I'm going to try and get this a test fit here. Alright, so that's a perfect fit. So now I just got to get them out of there. Get my actual, these ones I've sanded down a little bit so that they don't get quite as tight. Apparently they're still not sanded enough. Alright, so now I've got it like that. I'm going to go ahead and mark my things on the inside right here. That way I can go ahead and I can sand this down and get it prepped for assembly. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start sanding this down. All right, just give her a quick once over. Then once we get done getting her put all together, everything, we'll go ahead and sand it again. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna actually put her together. Go ahead and get my dowels here. So I'm using Tight Bond 3. That's just because that's what I have out here right now. A little glue on this end here. Go ahead and clamp that down right there. Hopefully I can tap this in there all right. Not all the way in there, but I can get them in the rest of the way with the clamps. Go ahead and get a little glue on this end. All right, now we'll go ahead and get the bar clamps on here. Alright, all I have is a few little pieces of paper or plastic right here. I'm just going to put them underneath my glue just so that it won't dry right to my table. I do a squeeze out in all four corners, which is good. I'll go ahead and clean it off the top. There is the picture frame put together. The inside measurements that I had to have were 49 by 39, 39, 39, 49 on the money. So I think we look pretty good. All right, so we're gonna let the glue dry, and then when we come back, I'm gonna go ahead and round over front here and here, probably on all sides, just to keep it from splitting or having any problems. And then I gotta put a chamfer or a rabbet on the back of this, so the frame or the picture and the glass stuff can fit right in there. So that'll be next. All right, guys, let me show you how that worked. So yeah, it came right together tight. That dowel is nice and flat. I don't know if you can, but yeah, she's nice and flat. A little bit of sanding, but that's like you have with any joint. Nice and tight. All right, so this looks like it's dried up pretty good. Go ahead and take out the clamps. See if my plastic didn't dry right to the table. All right, not too bad. Let's do a little bit of sanding, round over some corners on it, and then get a dado or a rabbet in the back of it. All right, so we got it out of the frame. I've got it clamped down. I've got a 1/4 inch round over bit in here. I did a test run on a piece I had just to make sure it was all right. So I'm just gonna put a round over on it. All sides of this basically. So this side and the inside. So we'll go ahead and get this started, and to make sure you're going the right way with your router, just take your finger, like an L, and put on here, put your thumb to it, and that's the direction I want to go. So I want to go that way all the way around the outside edge, and the inside is going to be different. I'll put my finger like that, and I'll go around it this way on the inside. So clockwise on the inside, counterclockwise on the outside. All right, so that finished up that outside edge. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'll start on the inside edge. And remember, the inside edge, we're gonna go clockwise. The outside is counterclockwise. So we'll go ahead and get started on that. All right, so basically just rounded it over, just gave it a little profile there, a little smoother. It'll keep the edges from chipping. A little bit of design. So let's go ahead and get this tipped over and see if we can get this rabbet out of here. I'm going to try and take this in a couple passes so I don't get all of it at once. I think I'm going to go down about 3/8 of an inch deep, because we got a piece of Lexan that goes in there, then the picture itself, and then a backer. So I set it up so the furthest it'll go down is this far. That's the furthest depth I want it at. So now what I can do is I can release this, turn this up 2 spots, go all the way back down, set it. That should take out a little bit. I think I might set up my test board first. Sure it's going to do what I want it to before I try it on my actual piece. It's almost always good practice. So we're going 1.5 inch, and that's only going down a little ways, probably maybe 1/8. So I think that's what we want to do. That's what we're going to try. Alright, so there's that one. So now what I'll do, I'll spin this thing around one more click, press down to that. That should give me one more move out of it. Come back here, turn her back on. Alright, so we're going to turn it one more time. I'm going to drop her down. And that should give us the 3/8 that we're looking for. Alright, so that looks better. I'll go ahead and do a little bit of sanding. So this is actually going to get hung to the wall just by putting screws right through it and holding it up there because of where it needs to go. You know, worry that it could get tore down. So then we'll go with 6 inches from each end. And then we can put the holes in there and sand them up. So there's that. So I'll go ahead and get my drill, countersink. I'll give it a little bit of sanding. So this is going to be a black stain on this. Go ahead and stir this just a little bit just to make sure it's mixed well. Try to stay going with the grain on it. I'm just going to go ahead and let that dry all the way in. Now I got to figure out how I'm going to try and tip it over. Alright guys, and that's a wrap for that portion of it. Now we gotta wait till tomorrow, should be dry. We can put some poly on it, finish up this project. Alright, so we're back with this. It still seems a little bit tacky maybe. I don't know if that's just because of the temperature out and the weather's been really damp the last couple days raining. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some poly on it, see how it works out, and then we can go from there. Alright, so there's the top side done. I'm going to try and flip this thing over, get the other side done, and hopefully it'll turn out alright. This is the part that's got me a little worried. It's still coming off black. We're going to see how it turns out. Alright guys, there is the end of the first coat. I'll go ahead and let this dry for a little bit, come back out and check it, and see if it's ready for a second coat. I'll have to wait probably about an hour, hour and a half. See if I can get it to dry up some. I can put a second coat on here, and then I can go from there. Trying to dry a little bit of this out of here. Alright, so that final coat's on there. It turned out really pretty nice. It looks pretty good. There it is. There is a massive frame. The inside dimensions are 49 by 39, and then where it's rabbeted out, it's 50 by 40. So it takes a big picture. And I think it turned out pretty good. Alright guys, I appreciate you watching. If you have any comments or any questions about it, you know, you can go ahead and leave them in the comments below. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks and bye.